was, I don't remember. I know I've tried twice, and both I had to dump. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen today, and it is the story time of how I am an OG MLM kid. I am the victim of an MLM family. So we will get into that. But I have to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed recently, everybody that's been subscribed, everybody that's been subscribed for years. Y'all make the channel. So thank you very much. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. Let's hit 9K next. Before we get into it, you know the drill, you know the deal. We gotta do some channel maintenance, some channel hygiene. Channels are time we got you. So if you're new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back. Oh geez, if you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like if you like, leave a comment. It can be anything related to the video. It can just be a hello, a few emojis, whatever, as long as it's cool and respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I've linked my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever, but every dollar or two helps. That is what allows me to continue to make content. Also, you are invited to my Patreon. I know not everybody can come, but you can't say you weren't invited. The link to my Patreon is down below, and I post a lot over there. If you want extra content, but you don't want to leave this platform, you can join YouTube memberships by clicking join below or going to my channel page and clicking the join button. That is content that is exclusive to YouTube members. Alright, so a couple little gifts I gotta break out. I've already tore into one. This did not come with a receipt. So thank you. I think I know who's in it, but thank you. And feel free to drop your name below if you did. But this is the extra winter fresh. So now I'm like all stocked up on gum, and there's a ton of it. And then this is going to come in so handy, and I needed it for my long days away from home. And it is a portable power bank, but it has it's really compact. It has all the right. Thank you. I'm going to charge this up and put this in my purse because I have the day off today, but I go back to the grind tomorrow. Alright, let's pop in some of the winter fresh this time. Oh, it matches. I'm wearing a little blue today, so it matches. I wrote everything down, so I'm kind of going to be reading and commenting. So, yeah, I'm the child of a lifelong grifter. My stepdad, lifelong grifter. If you ever go to my Patreon, or those that are on Patreon, they know what he's up to now in his last couple years of life, and it's wild with a capital WH. It's wild, okay? But anyways, lifelong grifter, user, addict, roidhead, all the things, right? When she started dating him, he was also drinker, partier, but she did say, shape up or ship out, and he, I guess, shaped up to her liking. And they got married, so he started getting into, he was taking his classes to be a plumber. We ended up moving to Aurora at the time, Aurora, Illinois. He was finishing up his schooling, and then he worked. We lived in a little duplex right down the street from a school that I went to. My mom was full-time at Jewel, in the little concerns desk. What's it called? The customer service, the stamps, the returns, all that. That's what she did. So yeah, we moved to Aurora. I remember he had some friends down the street, and it was always some drama with him, but I remember him and the friend down the street. That guy's name was Brian, and they got in a big fist fight one day, which is very, and they were never friends again, but what the crazy part is that they also still named my brother Brian. One of my brothers is named Brian. I'm like, isn't that kind of weird to name your kid after somebody that you don't get along with? But whatever. He was the kind of guy that always thought he was above any job. I can't believe I'm doing this. And I get that in some senses because some jobs are terrible. But it didn't matter what job he had. He was always like, yeah, but I'm smarter than this. I'm better than this. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not like the others, I'm not like other men. I'm better. is the name. And I don't know what Charles Schwab was. I just remember he had the cassettes, he had the VHSs, and it was all, if we were in the car, we were forced to listen to these cassettes. I cannot remember if was it real estate, whatever. Somebody will probably know what Charles Schwab was. So basically he's a sucker for these get rich quick type things, right? And just a horrible man, horrible stepdad, horrible friend, horrible son, all the things. So he had all these cassettes that we had to listen to. Like, no kid wants to listen to that stuff. Didn't matter. Kids did not have a voice. Well, at least I didn't. But I do remember one time I said something about Charles Schwab, like, around other people, and he raged. He's a roidhead. He raged at me like, nope, I didn't know that nobody was supposed to know that he was into the Charles Schwab stuff. And maybe you should tell somebody then that it's a family secret or something. But I got in huge trouble, like grounded, yelled at, got my ass reamed out for mentioning Charles Schwab. Just about, I don't even know what I said. He also was somebody that would throw himself into his hobbies, and so he worked, and then he had these get rich quick things, and then he had hobbies, and so there was no parenting going on whatsoever. That he was not balancing that. Like, he had his priorities, and I was in place of him as far as parenting was concerned with the siblings. So he was a gun guy, and he was an ammosexual, which we have guns, like, I have guns, but he was an ammosexual, okay? So he would practice in the house all day, and crazy enough, we had a long hallway. My room was at the end of it, and so basically he pointed guns at my room the whole day. Obviously they weren't loaded, but that's where his target thing was, which it's just not, that's not healthy. To walk out and just have somebody, like, pointing guns at your bedroom door all day long. He couldn't make a meal. He couldn't change a diaper. If he was watching the kids and I got to, like, go to my room, which when you have a horrible parent, your room is, it's your little cell, but it's your little pleasant cell, you know, like you hide. But if he was watching his own kids, it's me and then 3 siblings that are my dad, my stepdad, and my mom's. If they ever went to the bathroom in their diaper, like they were babies, he would call me out. If one of them needed to be fed a bottle, he'd call me out. So, like, yeah, they could run around sometimes while he was out there, but if any of them needed anything, he'd call me out to come handle it. And then he would go, like, take his nap and be like, come out here. I'm gonna go lay down. Watch all 3 of them. Like, could you guys have just had 1 or something? No, you get to have 3 because you have a live-in free nanny, right? Nanny, housemaid, whatever. My mom was still at work full time and she worked second shift, so it's like I would get home from school, he'd get home from work, and my mom was gone. Okay, eventually they got into the big one, and the big one was called Market America. They made it their whole lives. Okay, this is an MLM thing. It's like their whole identity is all they talk about. It's all they do. He would just be locked in his room now. At this point, after he would get home from his regular job, and he would just be sitting in there with his Rolodex, not cold calling because he knew them, but calling. He was on the phone 24/7. Well, if he wasn't at work, he probably wasn't on the phone there, but he was just calling all night, on phone calls, on conference calls, on recruiting calls. And I was left and I buried his Rolodex. I did. I went in and got the Rolodex one day. He didn't find out about it until they read my diary years down the road, but I went out and got his Rolodex, and I went over to where there's like a bunch of trees in the neighborhood and just started digging, and I buried that sucker. And man, you should have seen this guy lose it. It's like, what? You're what? I don't know. That's crazy. So he would plan these. They would plan our vacations, right? They weren't vacations. They would have these conferences in different states, right? And so they'd pile us in the car to go on vacation, and we listened to their BS the whole way there, out of state, staying at hotels and driving again the next day, North Carolina, wherever. And I was just the nanny, the bring along nanny. There was no fun to be had. We would get there, and they would just dump us at the hotel and go do their conferences, and they'd come back at night, and then there'd be like night functions too, and so they'd like get ready and go back out again. Fun, right? One time at one of these conferences, my parents signed me up to do free babysitting for everybody. So I was like, I gotta bring a friend. They were like, you'll get money because they'll tip you. You can have a tip jar. When I tell you that we watched about like 25 kids and we got like $25 for the entire day. Luckily, and these people are, making big money. Luckily, not even luckily, but one of the persons was like, so how much did you guys make? And we were like, $25. And they were like, oh, that's terrible. And I think they gave us like 100 or something. Right. Here's some, my kid will freeze it. Meanwhile, all these other people have teenagers that you don't see them volunteering their teenagers. I will never there is no getting over this. Like every time I tell the story, I'm like, eventually I run away. I really just couldn't get a ride home one night, and so that meant I ran away. After I couldn't get a ride home, and they were all pissed, I was like, I'm not going home then. So I was gone for a couple days. And when I got back, I was able to move in with my real dad, who was no better. But whatever. I got to leave at least that type of being taken advantage of, neglect, whatever. I got to leave that. I went to go live with my alcoholic dad and his wife that was 12 years older than me. All that stuff's on Patreon. I go on, I grow up, I have my first kid. I don't think he ever made a trip to see my kid or say I don't think I got like a text, or maybe I did, I don't know. One day, I get a call, and apparently my mom had come home one day. She came home a little early. She was working at a school, I think she was doing para work. She came home one day, and he was backing the car out of the driveway, fully loaded car. He was leaving with no coward, right? Just leaving. I'm leaving my family. And she was, wow. Okay. So he takes off. Of course, there was another woman. I didn't get the whole story. I don't know who the woman was, how long they overlapped, because let's be serious. This guy has not a shred of integrity. So he goes, he lives in Arizona. He actually had to leave too because he got in like he was always fighting. He was always physically fighting. And I did unfortunately get a lot of physical aggression from all that. And I was a big fighter. He was always getting fights. Well, the reason he had to leave Illinois around then too was because he was in big trouble because he had like a road rage fight. Like a psycho. An actual road rage fight. And he was in big legal trouble around then. He always skates though. These kind of people, they always skate. I don't know how they do it, but they forever just skate through everything. He didn't hardly see his own kids ever. He did shift his MLM companies, and so people were constantly mad at him because that's how it works in MLM. It's kind of like flipping gangs. Like, no, you're with us, and then they find out that you left, and then it's a big thing. So he just made tons of enemies over the years. He lost all of his friends. He lost his family. Like, his family hates him. He has one brother, one sibling that still talks to him. The rest won't talk to him. One did pass away. His sister doesn't talk to him. His brother doesn't talk to him. There was some money stuff that, like, he had borrowed a lot of money from his own mom while his mom was alive, and that was his, I guess, inheritance. And then so after the passing, there was nothing left for him, and he lost his shit. But they're all like, "You took it. You took what was yours while she was alive, right?" He still lost his shit, and these are the type of people, like, he fought both of them. He fought his sister, but she can kick his ass. Pretty sure she can kick his ass. Not that he was a bodybuilder, but at that point he was already sick. He was declining. He ended up getting Parkinson's, and like, he had before that he had hip replacements and knee replacements, so he was not his old self, and that's when he chose to fight, which is stupid. I'm fully confident that his sister could kick his butt at that point. Oh my god, he would still call even me. The only time you got a call from him is when he'd want to recruit you to something. And he would gift you with a spot. Like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gifting you for Christmas. I'm putting you in my business, blah, blah, blah." Like, nobody wants that. Well, actually, he always gets one of my brothers to do whatever he wants. Okay, so he goes on to marry. So much has happened since I even wrote this. He does go on to marry another girl from, like, his hometown. He came back for Christmas one year, whatever. They went out. They end up staying together. So he married a woman at the time.